course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, east, west, north, south, central in Trinidad. Our friends in Tobago and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web, pleasant good day to you. Yes, I couldn't wait for tonight for more than one reasons, or more than one reason. And the other one is thank God it's a Thursday, so tomorrow night I have a day off or a night off, and therefore I will be at my favorite water hole, so to speak. Yes, somewhere in East Port of Spain, Laventil and environs. After all, I am my neighbor's string is buried here, and therefore everything I do is, of course, in relation to or in connection with that particular community. Why? Because I believe sincerely that that community, can in fact emerge out of the morass and the quagmire that it has found itself, not necessarily of its own doing, but because of outside influence who have politically determined that they are what I consider to be slaves. These days there are a lot of slave talk, so they consider them political slaves, so that they are manipulated, they are used for political opportunism and then discarded. But let's hear Marshall as he, of course, defy, deny, and show where we can be. Listen to this.
Right to me. Front page is where legends belong, but backstage is where legends are.
Yes, indeed. Of course, let's go one time to the lines. Let's go one time to the lines. Let me just make sure that everything is in place here. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Are you hearing me? Not yet. I don't expect them to be hearing me because I've seen something here that suggests otherwise. Pleasant good night. Are you hearing me now?
I am. Pleasant good night.
Good night. Good night. You hear me now, right? Loud and clear.
Yes, I am hearing you loud and clear.
Right. Great. That is lovely. Go ahead. Make your contribution. What we can do for you tonight.
Okay. My name is Yeyoshini. I am the secretary of a group, Ifa Orisha Council of Trinidad and Tobago, the IOCT.
Uh-huh.
And we are having a conference on the 23rd of May. Within our conference, we are having a call for papers in which we would want persons to write and present papers on the theme IFA, a tradition for today,
okay,
tomorrow, and yesterday. Now, one of the purposes, what's that?
No, I said beautiful. The theme songs, very, what I consider be contemporary and relevant. Go ahead.
Yes. And the idea is to bridge the gap of misunderstanding.
Okay.
Right? So we have our president here. Actually, he was trying to call in. I don't know if you could call in while I'm speaking.
Yeah, certainly. And give us an insight as to what the intention is and some of the philosophical and some of the antecedents and give us education on the organization itself and some of the tenets thereof. So I would appreciate that. I have no difficulty with that.
Okay. So let me talk a little bit of the conference, and then I will put him on to contact you all to give a little bit more detail.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Go ahead.
All right?
Yes.
So the conference, we have some focus areas that we would like the public to write papers on or even speak on, and we're trying to get the youth itself.
Okay, in particular.
To contribute. Right? So the papers is more geared towards academics and stuff. And then we have posters that we want the young people to be able to, they could draw or they could
produce their own creativity. Oh, I
their own creativity and various workshops.
Okay.
Right? So the idea really is to encourage collaboration and communication and a lot of misunderstanding. We also have an ongoing petition right now. It's in the country, it's online, in which in which we're trying to get an Ifa Orisha holiday because there's a lot of misunderstandings that it is the same thing as the spiritual Baptist, which is not.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you about the spiritual Baptist because, I mean, I'm a practitioner. So, yes, and I think, things move from stage to stage, and as Confucius will say, the longest journey begins with what? A single step. So if you're making these
Truly.
steps now, very important. But let me ask you this: where can one find the petition on Facebook? What or other
The
platforms?
petition, I can share it on the chat here, and it's
Okay.
also on Facebook as well. But I can also share the link here
Yeah, beautiful.
to the petition.
Right. Yes, do that, and
Oh.
I'll have it,
Will
of
I
course,
be able to join into this call?
promoted. Yeah. Yes.
I will. Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hold on a sec.
Uh-huh.
Let me see if I can join him to this call.
All right. Yes, indeed. Of course, people, well, this is about the society. We are multifaceted, multidimensional, and in that regard, of course, we are multi-religious, multicultural, and we pay
Hello,
respect and homage to all.
Hello?
Good night, sir.
Hello?
Good night.
Ashuni?
Yes.
Right.
I have you on with the
the Corridor Transformation program.
With the-
Welcome, Lennox Smith is here, and she was telling us about an event that you are sponsoring
Hello.
your organization, and we wanted to get some more information about it.
Boy, plenty.
Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me, sir?
I probably is not
Well,
hearing
yeah,
you.
it's up. Well,
I
it
hear
appears that
you.
he may have to call in
He may have to
directly.
call, okay.
Yeah, let him call in directly.
Yeah,
Just
man.
us calling up and just call back in. Sorry
Yeah,
about
and we'll get him. All right. So we
Okay.
get his side of the.
Well, all right here, okay?
All right.
All right. So tell us a little more about the event. All right. Okay. So she has gone. Once again, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, in Trinidad, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Yes, of course, your host Lennox Smith. But you see that the whole format of the program is changing up. It is becoming more all-inclusive, and I want to thank, of course, a certain, should I say, concern and patriotic and what I consider to be altruistic individuals who really and truly love Trinidad and Tobago. As I love not just Trinidad and Tobago, but if you want to subdivide it, as how I love Laventille, East Port of Spain, and communities like these, because I am of the firm view, just as them, that we have been shortchanged and more can be done if we have the right leadership, the correct vision, the philosophical underpinning for progress and, of course, advancement, and most importantly, that we are not seen as second-class and third-class citizens, so that Laventille is a place to avoid. We have had a lot of that, and we know we have to work to, of course, neutralize or eradicate that notion, because let's face it, no other community in Trinidad and Tobago has been given such negative recognition across the globe where it matters. You see, when a citizen from the United States, Canada, any one of the European countries, France, Great Britain, Germany, Holland, etc., when they are coming to Trinidad and Tobago, there is something called an advisory. An advisory really is to tell their citizens whether they come in for pleasure, as a tourist or as an investor or business person. Listen, these are some of the things that this country is known for, particularly when it is negative, because that is what an advisory is all about. What are the shortcomings of that country? But I'm saying that while, of course, Trinidad and Tobago will be designated as a country that has a lot of violence, let's not waste time with that, murders, etc., because of the statistic. Those are realities. The point I am making is that the only communities that are mentioned in that advisory in these various countries on which or whose resources we have to depend on to expand our economy and to, of course, generate employment opportunities and to live a better quality of life and standard of living. The communities that are mentioned, Nelson Street, don't go Nelson Street. Yes, mentioned in those international advisories. Don't go Nelson Street. Don't go Belmont. Don't go Wrong the Savannah. Don't go Laventil. So we have a duty to dispel that, and I'm going to show you tonight. Because the story must be told. And I have said over and over that it is upon the community, the question of our social, and to a lesser extent, but certainly the social part of it, which deals with attitudes and which deal with psychology and which deals with, of course, culture and values. It is the community must address that for it to be sustainable, not the police, not law enforcement, not even the bloody government. It is the community. Of course, the police has a role to play in that whole process. The government has a facilitating role to play, but by and large, it is the community. And I'm going to show you that tonight, that the community of Laventil have taken steps. And I'm going to show you why these steps have not been broadly broadcast, one, and two, was not appreciated or taken up as an opportunity to avoid what is happening and unfolding today, the quagmire and the mess that Trinidad and Tobago is in today. But let's go straight to the line. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
Good night, good night. You got Martin inside.
Ah, yes, indeed, my friend.
Let us pick up the pieces from last night.
Ah, yes, go ahead right away, man. A lot of things came to the fore since we last met. Yes.
We are talking about the Sagram Singh name.
Yes. That came to the fore today, vividly.
Right. Yeah. I mean to say, this program we just highlight everything. It's not only conspiracy, but it's how shall we say, is a hunch.
Yes. But being pragmatic and being logical, common sense, that would, of course, in many instances, or more instances than not, on target.
No, but
go ahead.
It's easy, you know. Anil Robert coined the acronym PNCM, People National Corruption Movement. And everything could be pointed back to them. All the guns missing, the ACP is related to a former junior minister in the Attorney General Office, just like the junior minister in housing who are a company in England with known financiers of all the gang. I wonder if there's any nexus with all of these things. We have to listen carefully to the utterances of KPB. You understand?
Yes.
Something is happening. I'm hearing a policeman who's on extended leave by the name of Meister might be taking over the position. So let us see. But you see, my problem with that, I would prefer an external person to do the audit on this municipal police armory and things like that. You know why? Let's go back to before Brent Thomas, and there was a gun dealer, I think, in Chicago on us. You have them in court, where the policemen do an audit, and when it's time to return the ammunition, 900 rounds of ammunition. You remember that?
Yes.
So how can you now take one of them to do the audit on something else. That ain't making sense. You haven't resolved the issue to tell us what was the problem. You say it was a number mistake. That is what auditing is for, to find out those mistakes, right? But not to make it happen. I find something wrong, and they should get some competent authority to do it, because I will suspect you will find a lot of discrepancies and gaps in the management of these arms. I still haven't found out what are the markings on the ammunition that the municipal police use. That will be central to any audit and anything that comes out of the audit, because you know a lot of the ammunitions in a lot of the criminal acts are TTPS markings, the Defense Force markings, the Coast Guard marking. Remember, we had 25,000 ammunition missing from the Defense Force that nobody has told us about, you know. So let's see how it unfolds, but it is frightening that where the PNM has led us, and we can say what we want, they led us to the doors of Haiti, criminal grams rampant, and more importantly, the PNCM probably encouraging these criminals to go global, to expand their reach. Remember, the Attorney General told us, and I'm hoping that the current TPS launch an investigation into that association, because the Attorney General said it might have been coincidental, or is it a tip-off, or it is the perverting the course of justice by a senior government official. Go on, have a nice night.
Yes, man. Yes, man. Yes, man. And clearly, all of these, while to some extent they may be speculative, but logical, one can make these kinds of inference based on the information that you have before you. In other words, there is a kind of logic that the courts use. It's called deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning, of course, is that you have palpable, tangible, a mix of circumstance and the physical evidence, and you could piece it together and say and draw a particular conclusion. Of course, that is deductive reasoning. But inductive reasoning is also applicable in court matters as well, because that is where they get what is called circumstantial evidence. So that if it is that a person has to come to Port of Spain, let's say from Chaguanas, obviously there are three main routes they can take when they reach, of course, at least Mova Junction. They can go down the Beetham Highway. They can, of course, take the Eastern Main Road, and then they could come over Lady Young Road and get into Port of Spain. And therefore, even though the person arrives in Port of Spain, you can easily infer by inductive reasoning that one of those routes they would have taken. Obviously, you would have eliminated helicopter, or by plane, or by boat, or indeed coming down, which of course it may be possible as well, the priority bus route. I just want to emphasize the conclusions that you are hearing is as a consequence of those kinds of reasoning. It will be applicable depending on the individual and the circumstance. Let's go to the line. A pleasant good night.
Good man.
Pleasant good night. Lower the volume on your device.
Hello, Mr.
Hello.
Smith, good night to you.
Yes,
Yes, good night to you.
Yeah, lower the volume on your device.
Yeah.
Something playing in the background.
Oh, Mr. Rock. Yeah.
Right, good.
I just call you to thank you for one thing with our advice you give me. You can remember when I call you and I tell you about the school in Lavanti, the girl,
Yes.
and you tell me to be persistent, like you did. You remember that?
Yes.
Right. Right. Well, like it bear fruit.
Oh, it bear fruit, right? Beautiful. Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah, because she father called me just now and he tell me Monday they tell she's coming to sign up because she was persistent with your advice.
Beautiful, man. All right. Thank you very much.
And
And that's what we need to do. All of us.
Yeah. And why I'm calling to know to tell you this, maybe other people have to take some advice from you because your advice is always something on the right track, and I always respect you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I want to say this before I go.
Go ahead.
What I've noticed a type of trend with the murder that taking place into Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
It's looking like if the criminal element happen to go to extra to put something like an input into the murders that taking place because like they seems to be fighting back against something that one like something good to come outside. They don't want that because they have somebody who pushing them and listen to the kind of talk coming out from men like Marvin Gonzalez and warning the UNC. You can actually see that is a pushback between them and the criminal element because you know, as you just rightly say, they allow crime to flourish. I heard you say that many times. And there's a reason now that they are pushing back because the crime may not be able to flourish under the ULC as how it was under the PNM. Right? So there's a conspiracy what taking place. So this is something the government under real pressure because it is not as simple as it is before. And you will understand what I'm saying because I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but you could understand because I just understand what you say. Right? And this is what I've seen right now happening. So somewhere along the line, we have to be more strong right now because all of us need help in this fight against crime. And if you listen to them, they only coming out every day like if them in power and trying to make people believe them in control of the government and not the government in control of things. So this is something very, very serious that we have to do some pushing back right now. Right, Mr. Smith?
Yes.
So we will talk better on that, but this is my observation right now.
Yeah. And I want to tell you, not quite yet, but you're almost there to the top of the class, right? With that observation.
Right. So
right.
they is where Joshua had to come in. I just saw Joshua Aaron, right?
I hear you.
Right. Well,
thank you. Yes, indeed. But of course, as he mentioned, Joshua will be taking up duties from Monday about 5:30. In fact, he has some friends and they approached me this evening asking when we started. And of course, we have what is called the Youth Corner. We'll be calling that program on the corridor transformation. But let's go to the line. Pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox, and all in sundry east, west, north, and south.
Yes.
My people on the frequency all around the world, please share the live. Tell them that Uncle Lennox only work from Monday to Thursday. When he feel good, he come from 8, and when he feel a little sick, he start from 8:30. But we will take it.
Like we lost you, Faizabad, so you have to call back. Yes, but I was. Oh yes, okay. So we have him back. Yes, is that you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go
It's
ahead.
all
Yes.
right. Because I complained, you cut me off.
Me? How I
Yeah,
coming back?
yeah,
No, no, no.
yeah.
No, no,
You have
you
master
mean
control.
accusatory? No, 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 no. That is a misplaced accusation. I will never do you that, in particular. But go ahead.
Listeners, honestly, Uncle Lennox do well.
Yeah.
Because I telling him, yeah. Because when he come 8, I'll keep him till 11. You want to censor me. But we'll keep him till 12
No, no,
tonight for
no.
that wickedness to do that.
That would have been a pinch of your own conscience. Had nothing to do with me.
And
Go ahead, my friend. Yes.
because being today Friday for Uncle Lennox, he could go till 12 tonight. So we will enjoy him whole for the rest of the
I
evening.
take it that basket, gathering up 2 o'clock, and then see about ground report business.
No, I talking to we followers, the
Oh.
collier, and we will keep you engaged so that you will be abreast. So you will have everything freshly early first thing in the morning. You'll get up very early. So Uncle Lennox,
Yes.
you see,
Yeah.
I'm just going to teach everyone again. And let's love each other and bring back the true love. After the PNM led by Keith Rowley, Mother, the religious organization, tell them, he put a gag order over them, nothing to pray. Then he bring dead people come from all over the world from Ghana and up in Trinidad, mysteriously. Then again, when they intercept it, an next set of dead people come and they intercept it. Rowley give up leadership at the party without a constitution of the party election. Eh? Then he run and he tried to hide and he put Stuart Young. Then he cost this country to hoodwink the supporters of the PNM. Eh? After 10 years and nothing, no hope, taking away the food card, taking away the little work and had them only on URP and CPEP, while others benefiting millions and millions of dollars. And the same people serving the cabinet. You hear now who run away with 3 million in brief and contract, who was benefiting and feeding at the trough. And then they had 2 national security ministers, and here where they came from. They are ministers from any hotspot, so labeled by the PNM, and the analysts on them, they call it hotspot. And you telling me, after 1 year, Penny talking that crime, we can't get a handle on it? And these 2 ministers they had in national security at the time know each and every one of their constituents. Uncle Lennox, you could tell me how that can make sense? I had to give Joshua some more homework and raise the financial reward. Because if he made that and work on that maths for me, I might give him a $2,000. Because you walk through your constituents, you know each and every one of your constituents, you know they're suffering and they're paying only for election time. And yet still, the neighbor next door can come outside any hour of the night, eh? And can walk and say, neighbor, how you going and sit down and have unity and love, eh? And share. Long time up on the hills, you could have make a pot in a neighbor yard and everybody partake. Yeah? Look at it now. You have to stay inside, and come out when like there's a solar energy. Then people up there in the hills now, they're working with solar energy. It's only sunlight. When the sun up, they walk. And when the sun go down, they cut off. Yeah? Why? And Penny, they talk about in the parliament that all they're doing a project in all the house, they call it Balize House, and the Balize construction. They ask questions that if there's certain elements financing it. I asked him why it is he didn't have a press conference to address that and put the Prime Minister before the Privilege Committee. Eh? But it leaves one to understand that all the bills they are fighting for, to fight the criminal elements like you all never wanted to come to fruition because all the opposite without any substance and merit. 1 year into government, my extreme political leader changed the narrative because you know why? She had spoken to the same ground people, Penny. She had spoken before she faced the electorate and tell them, we listen to all their concerns, what is all their needs and wants and what all they want up front. Let me see if we can get it done. She worked in the first year. The same children's authority, all they have people with pedophiles doing mischief in it. The children's hospital, all they did, another incident where parents tell them that they pay back money and they didn't give them money to finance the child. And only want to come back to serve this country. She come and she opened back the children's hospital. All they had state-of-the-art equipment. Just they sit down, just like all the sit down in government and do nothing to serve the people. Penny, you want to say that my party, that they fail after 1 year? So Penny, what did Penny do for 10 years? Oh, they fail the supporters and them and now all they try to tell them, come back home, come back home. No, why it is the 5%ers and them and the 4%ers and them. Like this girl Ashley, and Idiotic Stuart and others. Why it is the settlement did take place? Teachers and the Vulnerable Nurses and them association, that is association fighting for uniform and shoes. Why you didn't do it, Penny? How it is? I know it has been after 1 year, all these things are still outstanding. The micromanaged economy. We want to know why the debt still on the petri train books. Why it is? Where's your phone for your please?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm talking to someone in studio. You
yes,
go ahead. I'll definitely the mic. Go ahead. I'll mute the mic. Go ahead. Yeah.
So when
to see if
Penny
anybody else was calling now. Go ahead.
Okay. So that's when you have a next caller.
Yeah. I don't have the device in front of me, so I ask them to get it. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sure somebody
So
might
I
be
think
calling.
Yeah. So Penny, I just bisecting all the words, all the trying to turn it now and put back a tailspin. What all of us accused of doing the people and the evidence there. All the neglect the working class. That is why it had the president of the unions represented workers bawling on all and crying. And you see, the UNC had to come and fix that. Then in Wassa, look what they do them. TSTT, look what they do them. Marvin, they run up a bill in TNTech and they say, we have to pay that, the people have to pay that, who you want to pay? While you had a cost overrun in all your projects. And now with that question to answer in Amplia, same thing I was saying, asking the question, Marvin. Then we hear what is the profit line. So, Penny, try and tell these citizens, and especially the vulnerable PNM supporters, right? What you have and the vision the party have. And would you call for laws and legislation to govern all from thieving and misbehaving in public office through excusal? So, Uncle Lennox, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And may God give you the good strength. A pleasant good night, each and everyone.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm sure there might have been some calls coming in. The phone is actually dead. So I'm just bringing it to life and let's see. So that we don't have at any rate, we don't have a call waiting system, so I normally ask you to call over. So you can continue with your call because it goes straight to the system, and that is how Mr. Faizabad and the earlier call would have come true, and that is how you are able to share what they have to say. That being as it may, it's a pretty delinquent of those who are supposed to be assisting me. They're supposed to make sure that the phone at least is well charged for 8 o'clock, and that didn't happen tonight. So I'm going to read the riot act when I finish here. But pleasant good night. Welcome, Mr. San Fernando.
Yeah, good night. How does one expect to run a government when you're being elected to parliament and then you don't show to answer questions? You don't understand it, because this morning I'm looking at the ground report, right? And Sean Sobers was saying that the thing with Amory Brown is that, right? Sean Sobers himself was supposed to appear in Parliament, but Amory Brown also was supposed to be there, but Amory Brown never turned up. Am I correct so far in what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah. I'm very familiar because I conducted the interview, so I am very familiar with that, with that embarrassing situation for Avery Brown. In fact, of course, the minister was so dismissive that he said that he doesn't take him seriously. And who should? Because, I mean, his lies, deception, innuendos, and reach, of course, a level of desperation that clearly shows that the PNM is on the last leg, so to speak, quickly and rapidly relegating themselves to the dustbin of history of this country. But go ahead, make your point, and I will try to elaborate a bit.
So your point is, these fellas, like, they go home and they practice using a revolving door. So you will see them on the outside, right? And then next minute, the door goes in and you don't see them, right? And when it goes in, they do whatever they have to do on that side, and then they'll come out on the opposite side to let you know, right, what's going on. But when they come out, it's only lies behind that.
Yeah. Well, I like to see them as, that's called dogs that love to bark, but behind the fence, pothogs.
Yeah.
Well, they remind me of that, because as soon as they come out beyond the fence and they're on the road, they start to squeak, and they start to, of course, put their tails between the legs, and now that they are exposed, and now it's time for them to show the grit and the gusto that they would have had behind the fence. And they are now, of course, cowardice, and in his case, he did not show up. Empty vessel now, making plenty noise,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's empty. It has no value. Go ahead.
You see, it has been going on for a long while, and these fellas, from ever since I was a young boy then in the 1980s, right? From ever since then, right, the crime situation was a problem, right? Because you had the Scott Drug report. And yes. I will always remember going to a PNM meeting in Marbella when Chambers himself was flouting the report in Marbella, right, on a platform. And over the years, we all know what happened after that, after 1986. And it continued coming down the line, and Trinidad was caught up in a crime situation then, but it escalated also within the PNM itself when corrupt people always dealing the hand in all kind of nonsense, that kind of thing. So you find being tied up with the what I should say, how I should put it, with criminal elements. Right? We have not gotten too far in terms of reducing the crime in Trinidad unless the UNC. When the UNC came into power, it went down. When the PNM came back, it went back up. And so it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a statistical fact. That's a statistical fact. Once the PNM is in government, crime exponentially increases, no matter what they do. In fact, the last thing they told us, if a fella pointing a gun at you, is almost to be discharged. Okay. Look for a drugstore and go and get fencing. because crime is a public medical problem. So you go and get that. I mean, it is ridiculous.
if it's a public health issue and it's a health issue, well then round up all the criminals and put them in a hospital.
That's all. Or the other way, because and they will choose that way. You wouldn't believe the PNM will take up all of the people, leave the criminals outside, and put them in a hospital. That's how topsy-turvy and upside down these people are. I mean, it is amazing that these people are still around and people still listening, following.
Still listening to them,
Yeah, and the media is still giving them optimum coverage. I mean, it is a phenomenon, but the people of Trinidad and Tobago made the decision in the past, and they will make the decision again in the future as they continue, of course, to what I consider to be, as Andy would say, tata on themselves.
Yeah, and
defecate on themselves, yes.
Apparently, it was very difficult, and it still is difficult to convince people of good things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I think I talk about Macbeth, Shakespeare's Macbeth, where of course,
it reminds me of that.
Yeah, where the witches were saying, were making comments that what is good, people see it as bad, and what is bad, they see it as good.
People see it as good.
Yeah. So we know that is a phenomenon in Trinidad and Tobago, because I can't see how the critical mass of Lavantillians, for example, and I include, of course, Beatam Seedats, also cannot see that the PNM is detrimental to their survival and their advancement and their development. I cannot see. But I think people learn at different stages, different levels, and different speed. I suppose the people of the areas that I mentioned are very slow to learn. But of course, eventually, they will have to respond, because no human being in perpetuity, and just like any animal, will have to launch forward when they see that they are being endangered unnecessarily by their fellow man, in this case, and woman.
Right. So that's the contribution tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, of course, for that contribution. Well, of course, I'm sure that some of you are raring to know what is happening in the video behind me. Well, I mentioned earlier about the advisories against Trinidad and Tobago, and that in those advisories that says, don't go to Trinidad because it's a violent place, the sixth most violent place in the world at one time. But if you don't go to Nelson Street, don't go to Laventille, don't go. These names are mentioned. And don't get me vexed. In fact, I'm challenging you. Go on the United States Embassy's website and you look at advisories. Go on the UK or the United Kingdom's website and look, and you would see. And you will see the only names that I mentioned. Not Mayaro, No, not St. James, Not Sanwa, Not Arima, Not Sangre Grande, Not Scarborough, But Nelson Street, that's just a street. Laventille, Belmont, the Queen's Park Savannah. Why? Because they're in close proximity, all of them in the close proximity or near to each other. That is what these advisories say. So what we as a community who know differently should do, well, that video in the back of me tells you, demonstrates what we have been doing. Not want to do, have been doing. But let's go to the line. Professor, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello, good night, Professor. Good night, Teacher Lennox.
Good night to you, my friend.
Share the life.
Yes, man.
Share the life. Use 10 fingers and share the life. Southwestern like you have 5 TV in your house and 5 phone hours.
I see my people calling since 6 o'clock. They want to get on the program. We have to tell them no, it's 8 o'clock, and I believe it's you and COP and Tunji and the others are doing that. I would not have done that. I would say that good things come to those who wait, 1 and 2.
Well,
if something is happening nice, people will gravitate.
Lennox Saturday, well, he had to get a medal. But one of the honorable Prime Minister, as she down there, she meeting the public, she meeting everybody, activists, lawyers, supporters, this, that. I wonder if she having a platform where people can come up and talk to she and hear their concerns and see when they're going by MPs and the staffs and them discriminating and the thing when they're asking what color clothes they have on, what they come here for. Like if you vote for them, me vote for them, you know. And they're trying to block you from seeing the MP and all them kind of thing. Like the UNC, like they're getting kicked out. You paying them like germs, they stuck back in. Look today, I passing down, coming from down Shokonas, I used to like get a land, tigers and bears down in Port of Spain there. The whole of the bush shoot us at that grass. The tongue Port of Spain, I pass up on your side, the tongue scarce. No kind of money, nothing at all on the ground. Because let's say what the plan I'm really in support the UNC there. But we are citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. We need jobs and things in that area too. It has single parents and single mothers out there. When you're going by these government institutions now, like the watching here, I want to know what's going on, Lennox. With them certain government ministers and I'm trying to make my prime minister look bad. I know you want to have a good intention, but some of them just come there for the friends and family and forgetting the real dung troops, the ground troops and them who fight and put them there. And we have a local election coming up. So all the guys on the ground answer they deal with the plan them now, man.
Yeah.
Man say to you, never Kadisha, man, all they pop up something on the network they choose local government there. It happens people who apply for work. Since all the start and people didn't get called out, all the same down by at the Bowling Stadium now, all the time apply online and all them kind of thing, all the call out certain people, you know. Lennox, I come out and talk, because I on the ground, I seen real and just and thing going on. Some people go afraid to talk because they're afraid they get political victimized. But along God alive and I had the breath of God in me, I will survive and eat and drink. So I come out and talk and see what's going on. So all the call people and give them the jobs and them, man. Single parents, especially in East West Corridor too. Bless.
Yeah, and thanks very much. Thanks very much, my friend. I will be making some comments directly related to the concern of the caller because I mean, I am in the bosom. I'm in the lion's den. You know, I am in the belly of the whale. And every day, I want to tell you that 3 days now, after this program, people come and wait for me after the program so as to settle out there. Some come for recommendations, some come to use the internet, some come, that hour, I talk about 4 to 5 persons on George Street in Port of Spain. At one night, we had 9 of them. And they want me, of course, to make an intervention. Whether this evening, I got a situation with someone. I'm not going to give any details or call any names, but just to tell you that those situations are real, and that people are looking for those persons who they believe can, of course, ameliorate or assist them in addressing their problems. And if generally people make themselves unavailable, having been given the awesome mandate, responsibility to deliver and to make people's lives better, then of course we will be spinning top in mud, and one has to conclude among several conclusions that that person may not have been sincere in terms of their commitment prior to getting the office. Let's go to the line. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the ground report.
Not the ground report, the corridor transformation.
I wanted to catch you with that. Thank you very much. The corridor transformation. I saw it was COP.
I hear my brother KFC to go to call a nasty name instead of he say Lennox Smith. He go to call a nasty name. Don't make that mistake at the corridor transformation. KFC.
Yeah. Well, I've just demonstrated that human beings are creatures of habits. So you'll have to forgive them when they make what is called a Freudian slip. A slip of the tongue.
Yes.
Right,
That's a slip of the tongue. And he entitled to make a mistake.
Yeah.
And by he big brother,
not all the
brother
time.
will forgive him.
After three is a habit. That's all.
You can guarantee.
Yeah, it's a habit. Yeah. All right, my friend. Go ahead.
But Lennox Smith,
yeah,
it is nice to me and great to see people, leaders, especially like you in your community, can assist people, help people in time of need. Because in your community, many people come to you for a hamper, to fill out a resume, to fill out a form for them, to do an application for them, and you use your internet.
Yeah.
It is nice to see it have people, elders, can assist people in time of need. What is bad is for political leaders and human beings living in those constituencies keep a blind eye towards that neglect for years. For years. It's so sad. It's so sad to me when you speak about them things, to hear them things and say, wow, what did the elders do for the younger ones coming up in their community? What did the PNM did for the future of the community? To even assist them in education, motivate the mind, and bring them out of that squalor that they live in. You see some of the people that you see speaking today, Lennox Smith,
yes, go ahead.
And viewers of the Corridor Transformation, and let me say good night to all the listeners and viewers of Corridor Transformation, and on the chat too, Judy Ali and all of you, good night. Them elders, them are the ones today they're playing innocent. Today they're playing innocent. But all of them was PNM people, and they watched the destruction taking place for years and condemning it now. Condemning it now. It is nice to condemn it now, but you all should be ashamed of all yourself for supporting a party for 50 years and seeing the neglect, seeing the disaster, whilst we were calling and asking the PNM to assist this community and represent the people and them, assist them in time of need. They're going through a time that they need representation. It had people, human beings, they classify themselves as PNM people. Is only some of them only jump in the UNC 18 months ago because they get what they wanted in the PNM and jump in the UNC 18 months ago. But Wall Street, those are the people and them responsible for the poverty in the African community. The PNM leaders, the PNM activists and them, and those mothers and fathers that live in those communities and them. Why it is, as human beings, them hard was to neglect a community neglect a community, not just a community with 10 people in it, with over 50,000 in every electoral district, and turn the back on those communities and them. And today playing innocent. These are sad things, Lennox Smith. And Lennox Smith, let me tell you something. If this administration don't show interest in the East-West corridor, especially the electoral districts and them, that they doesn't win election over there, but they just get nearly half of the community support in voting. If they don't show interest in these communities and them, you will never be able to fix crime. You will never be able to have a stable country. You will never be able to have that, because you need to fix the youths. You need to give them opportunity. You need to motivate them. You need to guide them. You need to protect them, because the mother, the father, and the PNM fail them. Even Wall Street and that fail the youths and them in the African community. And now they play. What you hear in Penny and all of them speaking over here now, if them go back in time, if them turn the page and see for how many years they keep a blind eye to the development of the people them that who make them millionaires, they will be ashamed of themselves. They will be ashamed of themselves if they turn the page, analyze the community success and them success. They will see their success going up 100 times, and the community success just become failure and failure and failure. We must understand, in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, a MP just don't mean missing person. A MP also mean member of parliament. And the definition of that is to create opportunities in the community. Give the people them opportunity, educate the future of the community. They don't do that. They do that for all the years that the PNM in office now. All the years that the PNM in office. Lennox Smith and Corridor Transformation listeners, I hope all you know to share the live and subscribe to this channel and tell a friend to tell a friend. If you have 80-something of you locked on now and you share the live with one of your friends and them, you will have 80 and 80. Lennox, I'm talking about 160. You will have 160. And if 160 of you share the life to one person, that is how we will build it. That is how we will climb the ladder. That is how we will motivate the people. That is how we will inspire the people. That is how we will grow the people. For everyone to be UNC. You see, everybody you see calling the station, they are UNC supporters for over 35 years. For over 35 years. Motivate your people and bring them here to the Corridor Transformation, where we educate, inform, and elevate minds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is not very often I have the opportunity to tell someone categorically and without any kind of reservation. I want to tell my good friend, because some people call him COP, they call him another name on the ground report. But I want to tell him go to the top of the class. I think that kind of bold, frank, and without much fanfare discussion and analysis is crucial, because that is what we had to do. It's like deja vu for me. What we had to do when back in 1984, we saw the situation where these young people are saying, and that time they had youth camp around still. It was in its dying days, but it was still around, because and products of the youth camps lining on the block and saying, Mr. Smith, you know, we have skill and no, we can't practice it because we have no work, etc. And we have to line. We saw that and we developed the MLIO model. Let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. We will have a chance to elaborate. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Dr. Lennox Smith.
Good night.
How are you, sir?
Fear to find like the weather. See, we getting some scattered showers these days.
All right. So, your phone system, you hear me? You hear me properly?
Loud and clear. Are you hearing me?
Yeah. I'm hearing you.
Great. I'm hearing you loud and clear. We fixed the problem, you know. We about fixing in real. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. So, I'm listening to the opposition and the opposition leader or the crime situation, and apparently, like this crime situation that we having now, just appeared under the present government.
Well, according to their illusion and sick thoughts, according to their illusion and sick thoughts, if you are not discerning, and probably if you now land from the sun, you might have a tendency to accept or to give a hearing to that misinformation, disinformation, clearly to no avail for those who have been here and know. But go ahead.
Yeah, because apparently, well, she has no choice but to do what she's doing. This is how I look at it. She has no choice. She's the opposition leader, and all they're doing is just making noise, right? No common sense behind it. Because you will know this, statistics don't lie, right?
Right. A fella tell me first man PNM oriented. He say he makes a distinction from numbers and statistics. So when I was about to ask, in fact, I asked him, well, if you're saying statistics is superior, what gave rise to the statistics? He switched the topic. It must be numbers. You must have raw numbers in order to arrive at a statistical, let's say, analysis or conclusion. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, he will say that because he can't face the truth.
He can't face the truth. That's right. That is the
right.
That's
he can't face the truth.
Reality,
but the point is, Rowley was they governed this country for 10 years. That's a whole decade. Right. He had the first, second, and third, I just call it gold, silver, and bronze. Highest murder toll.
Yes.
Under his watch.
Yes.
Right? The previous
don't trivialize that, you know. Because I'm saying of all times, whether it be under Eric Williams, whether it be under Manning, whether it be under Chambers, whether it be under Robinson, whether it be under Pandey, and whether it be under Kamala Prasad Bisesa in the previous issue, of all times, more murders. And these people are products of that poison fruit, the present opposition, and want to come in our faces and give us lecture on crime. I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves. But go ahead.
Yeah, and then added to that, the 2015 to 2020, he crossed 500 murders in his tenure. So he had a tally of he had a tally of over 500 murders per year, right? 500 murders in his 10-year reign, right? And then we go back to Patrick Manning. He had four times he crossed 500 murders.
Yes.
So when you look at the PNM crossed 500 murders 10 times. So what that tells you, under the PNM, crime goes up.
I mean, and whether you say numbers or you say statistics, it's the same conclusion you have to draw. One cannot be more than two.
Right. And when I check, Kamala would be the closest to that, which is 490 in 2010 to 2015.
Yes.
490. But other than that, the PNM has governed with crime. That's the problem. It has never changed.
Serious upsurges. Yeah.
But I want to ask you this, right? Are you aware that, you know, that the episode took place with the municipal police recently there?
Yes.
Are you aware that fell under the, well you would know that. I shouldn't be asking that question. the police them came under the ambit of the commissioner of police once upon a time, right?
Yes.
Right. But do you know it was removed by the PNM?
That fact. Not that I'm surprised, but to say that I don't.
But you were not aware of that. All right. Okay. Well, it was right.
Okay.
And it was, and here who it put it on, who it fell under? The Minister of Local Government. The Minister of Local Government. You know, I sat down, I got up early, 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, you start to think, right?
Yes.
I said, but why would they do that? Do they have some kind of motive, ulterior motive? Why would you take police and put them under local government? You have to have a reason for that. I started to think, right? And then I remember you saying that the PNM is you know, you use that term, right? You use that term, a criminal enterprise.
Criminal enterprise, yes, I did, yes. I made reference to house, etc.
So, if you're doing that, you have a reason for that, because you having problem with the commissioner to get firearms for certain people. And if you put that under the local government minister, then you will have easy access to get what you want, because they always want to have an unfair advantage. Right? I just think, you know.
Go ahead,
I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah. No,
I don't know what you...
I would put that in the mix as well. I'll put that in the mix as well. Even though, of course,
yes,
ostensibly the rationale for having regional corporation constabularies is to try to give some level of security, let's say assurance or support to the regional corporation, so that the administration there, you know, it comes as a consequence of local government elections. So they try to give them a sort of comprehensive, should I say, authority, and one of which, of course, is to protect the burgesses and or the constituents, depending on your perspective, and where the geographic location of these regional corporations and municipalities are. I think essentially that is the going principle. So they have their own to protect, of course. Why is it the national police do national duty? They are limited to the geographic or the lines or the boundaries of these regional corporations, and they can't go further or out of that.
Yeah, so I said, let me ask your opinion.
You're thinking, man, you know, when you're thinking, and that is good. That is good, because I may not have thought about it, but I could put it together with other things that one would have spoken of or thought of, and then build on it and come up with a synergy, and it may well turn out to be more rational and more expansive than what you started with. So well done, well done.
Yeah. So yes. As I close here now, I believe that when they do their audit, because I understand that the commissioner of police and they have some investigation, and they have to do audits of all these firearms missing.
Yes.
So well, then I could
the audit of what exists throughout the system. Throughout the system.
This is what I was really had to say, really.
Yes. Okay.
That was error on my part there. Yeah, yes. Yeah. So you take care.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Yes.
All right.
Yes, indeed. So people are thinking, and that is good. And as I said yesterday, if we still had to depend on the establishment, the status quo, the CNC3 and the TV6, etc., we would not have been here tonight having this high-level discussion on matters of a national nature that can contribute to not just the conversation, but to find the solutions as well, because one expects that with these kinds of exposure and the dialogue, if you want to call it that, certainly ideas will come, and ideas will be synergized and build on each other, and therefore this democratic, what I consider to be technology that we are using tonight and have been using in the past and will be using in the future, certainly couldn't come at a better time. So people understand clearly what the issues are, some of which may be gibberish to some, and based on the inputs of others, people get a clearer understanding, and therefore they too can be moved into action, because that is what it's all about. I was making a point about the video behind me, but I want to tell you this, that when we formed the MLIO model back in 1984, there was a component that we established, and of course, I went to New York. I visited, of course, Washington as well, visiting the University of the American University right in Washington, where most of the statesmen and the shakers and movers in Washington, their children go there. So I was invited to deliver a lecture, obviously on Laventille. So I was a guest lecturer there. And from there, I went to New York, where I visited with several Trinidad and Tobago-based organizations, people who organize organizations in New York, etc. And I had the distinct pleasure of meeting Dr. Gatti James from Tobago, and we sat and we brainstormed, and we came up, of course, with a model that talks about the empowerment zone. That is why this facility is called the Empowerment Center. But it came directly out of that interaction with a lot of intellectuals, social scientists we would have had there. He himself is an economist, Dr. Gatti James, plus, and a lecturer as well. I want to thank, of course, Dr. Richard Bennett, who, of course, invited me at his home and accommodated me in Washington. I want to thank him profusely. He and his family, his lovely wife, for that assistance. And in fact, we were able, as a consequence of that visit to the Washington University, to establish in Trinidad and Tobago the first community-based computer literacy program. All the computers were donated by that university. Let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome. I'm saying all of that to make a point. You'll get the point in a while. Good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Pleasant good night to you, Professor Lennox Smith, and everybody live tonight. Pleasant good night. Lennox,
hey.
I just want to find out something from you.
Go ahead.
I'm talking on behalf of some of the PRD security workers at the Point Fortin Hospital.
Okay.
So they have a situation, right, where when they have to take up duty, normally they have a roster telling you who working, what days and stuff.
Yes.
So apparently, it have a cartel going on in that security firm. And it affecting the workers and them. And like they know what to do. So I tell them I go try and see if I can let my voice to a program and see how we could better address the situation. So here we're going. These workers and them who taking work even from 6 in the morning or 6 in the evening. These workers and them have the PRD put something in place called first come, first serve. Let me see, I take in work 6 o'clock in the morning. I have to reach work 3 hours before the hour that I take into work to ensure that I get a position for me to work. And it are people coming as far as Ika, it are people coming from San Fernando, it are people coming from various parts of the country. And it affecting these workers and because they ain't getting proper sleep. Some of them are trying and things to see about, and it really machine me. When I talk to some of them today, they ball about the tired, because they ain't getting sleep. So I talked to PRD about that nonsense policy that they put in place and like PRD ain't listening. But I feel PRD is a part of the PNM. You understand? Because they're really taking advantage of these workers and them.
So these are security workers, right? These are security workers.
Yeah, PRD, privately owned. So I don't know who it is get able to adjust that situation, but
I'm going to take note. I'm going to take note. But what you should do, just to make sure that the follow-up is in train, call me tomorrow now, and I will make some calls to see what we can do to address that. If in fact is a policy that really and truly affects the health of the workers and the uncertainty that the system that they have adopted would of course engender, because clearly to tell me to come 3 hours before and somebody come an hour before me and I come the 3 hours before to go back home on a regular basis is not an easy thing. I sense that real human situation that is clearly untenable and cannot be sustained. That cannot be sustained.
No.
Yeah.
You know it had to be you getting up your bed 1 o'clock in the morning to try to reach your work for 3:30, 4 o'clock, and when they reach there, they're the shift full.
Yeah, because somebody come 2 o'clock. So even the 2 o'clock person is making a tremendous sacrifice. So it sacrifices wrong. And that ought not to be, because you are actually working maybe 2 days in one.
Yeah.
2 8-hour shift, one waited for the 8 hour. And if you do get the 8 hour, you have another 8 hour to
It's not to 6 to 6.
Yeah. That is not nice. That is not good.
No.
Good human relations. That's not nice. Yeah.
So I don't know who it is you could talk to, but they need to intervene here because this thing is fucking these workers.
Yeah, and industrial relations, I think that stinks as far as industrial relations strategy. You should be thinking about the welfare of the workers and not detrimenting and making it worse for them. Yeah. All right.
Making it worse for them.
Yeah. And people who are already poor, because people who gravitate to the security industry, let's face it, are persons who really are if it was a business, we'll call a bootstrap operation. But certainly, some people would say it's hand to mouth. Some people would say is, of course, out of pocket scenarios where you're simply just working to exist, to survive, subsistence. Yeah, so I hear you.
But let me give you a next one before you go. It have a private contractor working in the hospital as well. Then they'll be doing the cleaning. I think the name of the company is Ocean Bright. I think I didn't mention that here already.
Yeah, I know them. Yeah, I know them.
Right. Where these workers and them and all too, when they hear they get short pay, they will get short pay like $1,500.
Wow.
And when they go in and query it, they turn around and tell them because they don't like the policy or they can leave the work,
Yeah, because they have enough people to replace them.
Yeah.
Oversupply of person in need of work. Yeah, so they're exploiting the situation. No, people have to be humane. They have to be reasonable. They have to be logical, and they have to work within the confines of the established rules. The rules are not there to be broken. They're there to be observed and executed.
But they find a way to burn it somehow, Lennox, and we have to straighten that out.
Yeah. I will take note. When you call me in the morning, I will take note of both issues. All right?
All right, cool.
Yes.
Look on listening.
Yes, man. Yeah, that was Mr. Point Fortin. So we have callers from far and wide. But let me revert back to the video in the back of me. I was making the point that when we saw the problem of the young people in Laventille, you see, it is important that we get back to where the genesis of all of this is, lest we fall victim to those who ought to be managing and seeing after the affairs of these communities. They mustn't get away with the notion that they have spread indoctrination, the mama guy, that the community don't want anything. That is, I mean, none of you could say that you have not heard that of the Laventil community. None of you, if you are sincere, could say you never heard that. They would say that. And the fact of the matter is that there are people there, as I have said from time immemorial, whether they are involved in sports, whether the sport is, of course, not perennially, but maybe at a certain point in the year, for Easter, for example, the August holiday, they ain't doing it on a consistent basis, perennially. But the fact is that they are doing it. There are those who are engaged in education at the kindergarten level. There are those who are engaged in sport, athletics, as well as other, what I consider to be team sports, because athletics is not considered to be a team sport, except, of course, relay. But the fact is that we have these people there, the people who established churches of different denominations. They're there. And I want to tell you up front, if these people did not exist, could you imagine how far worse the situation would have been? Let me repeat, if these people were not there or are not there, how far worse the situation would have been. You see, I am appealing to decision makers and those who have access or influence as far as the treasury of the country is concerned, to boil it down to a simple notion, a simple reference. And when I say access to the treasury, I mean the various ministries that are responsible for delivery to these communities and to the national grid, so to speak. But you must pay special attention there. You see, there was a time, and I remembered Mr. Manning responded to me, and a fellow called me from the Ministry of Youth when I said that the distribution of the nation's resources in the context of both size in terms of number of population and in terms of geographic distribution, where these communities are located, it cannot be that that distribution will be based on equitable distribution. No, it can't be. And let me tell you why. It must be based on according to needs. And then I think they understood it, and I think they still do. But somehow people get carried away with power and, of course, with authority, and maybe by some kind of neophytic bug that may have bitten them. You know, Johnny come lately, they get a position and suddenly they gone mad and they don't know how to respond to people and or situation and the awesome responsibility that they have for ameliorating or addressing social problems that are of critical nature to these communities. Distribution according to needs. Why? And I made and why they vexed with me? Because I made the very simple analysis. You cannot give the same amount of resources equally to a fella, let's say, and it is still so, living, let's say, in Guayari or Mayaro, the same level of equitable resource to a fella living in Port of Spain, let's say Laventille and so on, a concrete jungle. A concrete jungle. These philosophical direction and road that has to be traveled so that the decision makers and the policy makers must come to the understanding of what they are doing, whether they are doing it advertently, meaning that they are doing it deliberately or inadvertently, or because of policy and, of course, maybe matrix and other devices that they would use to distribute the resources of the country. You have to be conscious of the fact that a fella in Guayari could still go in the sea and catch a fish. They could still, of course, go in the field and get some mangoes, etc. But a fella who living in Laventille and Port of Spain in a concrete jungle must have money in order to live. Must have money. It's a concrete jungle. You have to buy everything. The fella in Guayari, the young man or young woman in Guayari don't have all of that consideration to consider. They could probably, whilst it's a modern state, I'm sure they will use less electricity than a fella in Port of Spain. Because once you could turn off your light and nobody will, of course, interfere with you or your property. In Port of Spain, you dare not take off your light. A man will come through your roof. Of course, except for the empowerment center where we leave the damn gate open. Today somebody said, Mr. Smith, but you're leaving the place open? I say, yeah, it's them on. And if they want to commit suicide or destroy their own thing, that is them. And let me tell you something, me do that here alone. That was done in Juman's Drive. It was done, of course, in Mova, where we were before. All of our centers, we leave it open. The community must watch because they have an interest in the development of their own self. And that's another notch in the argument that it is upon the community, the ultimate resolution to crime, the acceptance and the potential, whether immediate, but you could tolerate, or you have to accept your circumstance. I'm talking about if you have not yet gotten a job, or if you're in a training situation, and when you would have completed, you still engage, you have to have the discipline to say, I am going to get a job because I will be pursuing that course in order to get it, and I will leave no stone unturned. That in itself is a motivation. It is a attitude that is required. Most young people are saying, listen, why going down there for? A whole set of them could be there and I wouldn't get the job, so therefore not me, I ain't going there. And stay home. Not knowing that it's better you try and fail than fail to try. And that is what we were faced with. But I'm coming back, of course, to the whole question of international advisories against Trinidad and Tobago and the fact that the name Nelson Street, Beatam, Laventille is mentioned to these people who don't know us. But the local embassies, representatives, would of course send reports back to their home base, their country of origin, and tell them what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. That's how they know. So what we have done, and still will continue to do to address that. Well, you've seen some names, some faces there. You see Robinson. You see, of course, Patrick Manning. You see, of course, former President Noor Hassan Ali. You see, of course, Basio Pandey. You also see, of course, former late Prime Minister of the UK, Natasha, Tasha, you see, of course, 2 prime ministers of Grenada. You see that? Well, I'll tell you. We contacted all of them, and most of them would have visited our program. Margaret Tasha of the UK, she wrote us through, of course, the Commonwealth Office, thanking and committing the UK to assisting our program. Yeah, all that happened. All that happened. How dare anyone say, because we did not televise it, and at the time, TTT and TV6 and them would not give us a space at 2 seconds in order to, of course, tell people what the good things that are happening. Well, I want to tell you, I'm going to damn well say every damn thing now that we have it at our leisure. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Hello, good night, Mr. Lennox and all the viewers. And Mr. Lennox.
Hey.
You were going on now.
Yeah.
About 8 or 7 fortnight now, they cutting the grass in the backyard. That coming out every fortnight or every month out of the boss lady paying. We paying for service in the backyard. Kind of going to have to be lighting cocktail like that when on AGC I see food.
Where's that?
The AGC.
Location where?
Oasis.
All right, okay. All right.
Because the grass growing up, because that neighbors also pay everybody who live in the apartment paying that to cut the grass, like the stuff other people start complaining saying they're paying that fee and they're not getting that. They're not getting that
service.
That service. They ain't getting that service. The grass real life. I take videos and I said that when before the bad man and X and the program then I sent it to Mr. X and Stefan, they said they go look into it.
Okay. Well, I will do that as well. I know you go call me in the morning, and I will try to get one of the ministers to focus.
Because every night I'll be buying boxer, cocktail, and the rainy season coming too, and chicken, good and all them kind of things. Most of them biting the region, and I have to let you in there. So you go look into that for me, please.
Call me tomorrow, right? Around 10.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Yes, indeed. So, we have been working. And you are seeing some pictures. That's one of the British High Commissioners to this country. You know where he was? Let the camera, and then I'll pause. Right. Let's pause there. You know, that fellow who's bending there, I am standing up. You can't see my face, but I am standing there next to him. That was one of the British High Commissioners, the formal representative in Trinidad from the United Kingdom, Britain. And you know where he was there? He was right up the street from us here. Next door is the Eastern Boys. He had visited the boys before, and then we went up to the Eastern Girls. And he's bending there talking to the Eastern Girls right on George Street, next to Nelson Street. So obviously, you will be asking the question, how the hell he get there? Having regard to what I just said about the advisories. Well, we took the initiative and said, listen, Mr. Ambassador, your country is saying that Nelson Street, Duncan Street, George Street, warning their citizens not to go there if they have to come to Trinidad. Well, we want to invite you to see for yourself. And we normally would invite them and advise them to come on a Friday when, of course, market galore, everybody outside, to get a full bird's eye view as to the synergy and the cordiality and the commercial focus of the community. We ain't asking you, we ain't sugarcoating nothing for you, we ain't painting up nothing for you. Walk and see for yourself. So when he did agree, he had one condition though, that security be provided. So we contacted the police, and the police, of course, the garden security unit, something like that, made available and escorted, of course, the entourage, the High Commissioner's entourage, right up to the corner of George Street and Prince Street, not too far from here, 2 buildings from here. Then he alighted out of there, and we walked north into, of course, Eastern boys, then Eastern girls, and we went as well to Southeast. And then we make him walk along George Street to see people engage in commerce on the streets. Whether they're selling what is called market goods and other items, and get a feel of the entertainment centers as well. So we walk inside the Spargos and other business establishment in that itinerary or that walk. What was that about? To let them know to please take off Nelson Street name off of that now. We asking you, after you would have made your own assessment, see it for yourself, even though one day, a couple of hours may not be sufficient, but at least you would have an idea that people can, of course, walk freely in these communities. Of course, that was several years ago. We are still pursuing that as we speak, because I have said in no uncertain terms, and I continue to say, that I, Lennox Smith, and what I represent and the different institutions that would have either been influenced by me or have evolved to operate within, I will work for free for the UNC, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, but I will not work for the PNM. Not even for money, because I know that they have been insincere and they will take that, utilize the political benefits to be derived, and leave the people poorer and make my work reach a stage of frustration so that I will have to abandon. And I do abandon. So I waited and I waited and I waited. Now that the UNC is back in office, these initiatives will be pursued. And already, as I said, we have the Empowerment Center, over 1,000 names already registered for work, opportunities, etc. We have, of course, the corridor transformation established. The studio is here located, and we will expand. Of course, I will be talking with certain persons who have been calling in, and we have been talking and have some ideas, and I want to tell them you better be prepared to be on the program solo, to run the program yourself, 3 days, 4 days, as the case may be, on a weekend, whatever it is, as we establish. We will provide all the facilities for you. We will get a technical person with you. And based on what I am hearing and seeing, the love and the commitment and the vision and the fact that we can do better, and the paradigm shift is upon us, and not engage in paradigm paralysis that has, of course, stymied and broadened, lengthened, and heightened the morass, the decadence, the crime. Young people can find themselves, parents in disarray. All of those we have to address. And I've always said that it is the home we have to focus upon, where these youths originally are indoctrinated to what is required of them in the society. And if the home doesn't have the right conditions, the values, and the what I consider to be the morals and the ethics and the exemplars, we in some serious, serious trouble. And we have to start there. But we have, of course, the schools to deal with. We have the churches to deal with. The police and the courts and so on will come after. But we have to prevent them from getting into the hands of the police and getting in the hands or in the precincts or in the presence of the courts. And once we would have achieved that, yes, it is hard work. I am not one to be unrealistic, but the beauty of it is we have experience, and experience is the best teacher, and they therefore know how. So that wasn't by accident, what you're seeing there. Ambassadors walking here. Not only that ambassador, the Indian High Commission walked the streets as well. The Venezuelan ambassador, before, of course, all the bacchanal or bacchanalia, walked these streets as well. Why we target the Venezuelans? Because we said, well, listen, on holidays, any holiday, August, otherwise, we get a cadre of students to get to the embassy, the Venezuelan embassy, where they have what is called a program of conversational Spanish. And why? We know, and I did it in Grenada as well when we met with, of course, 2 prime ministers of Grenada, and we did it there, and we, of course, made certain that they understand the philosophical underpinning, because there's a whole world with economic opportunities south of us, called South America. And when you go to Venezuela, and you go to Colombia, and you go to Brazil, you see skyscrapers just as in New York. And they are closer to us than the United States, but yet still we don't have relations with them. So we say, let us prepare our community to take charge of itself, learn Spanish, because the problem of not being able to have close ties with these Latin American countries that speak Spanish is because we don't know the language, and therefore products made there will be written in Spanish. We must be able to comprehend, and we in turn can export to them and put our products both in English and Spanish. That is the vision. That is how we were thinking and still continue to think. And under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, I am certain and as constant as the Northern Star and as immutable, unchangeable as a scent, we will damn well get it done. The PNM could talk how much they want. I hear, of course, people like Scotland talking about interlopers and terms of that nature. Interlopers but I prefer to see myself as an interlocutor, a person who goes in between rather than one who is taking over. Because if there's any interloper, it is Scotland. because he doesn't live around here, he doesn't stay around here, he visits, so he is an absentee, what? Lavantillian, or absentee, what? East Port of Spainian. But only come to, of course, exploit our young people, our people in general, by old talk and very little tangible expression to move them out of the morass and the quagmire and the difficulty to another place. They have no vision. And therefore, politically, they ought not to benefit from the fact that there is a cycle called voting cycle every 5 years. They must not be able to benefit. But those who have been in the vineyard and doing the work, whether government there, government not, and have been developing those institutions that are required, such as what I've just mentioned, then eventually people must have no choice but to do the right thing for their own salvation. So that picture you see in the back of me is a former, of course, High Commissioner, British High Commissioner. You will see, of course, there are others. The Indian High Commissioner did walk these streets as well. We got them to do it. We of the community, by the community, for the community. And we did it once and we'll do it again. The only man that didn't come was Estrada, the former American ambassador. He had to leave because the elections did not turn out. But he was preparing to come and visit with us as well, because we are looking for opportunities. So when I went to the United States, in Washington, and lectured at the American University under the auspices of Professor Bennett, the Department of, I think, Law, and there's another term that is attached to it. I inquired, and they were replacing their computers, about 30 of them. And I asked if we can get it in Trinidad, in Laventille. And they agreed. And all I had to do was to make the arrangements to get it here. And so when I went across to New York, I was scheduled to go by plane, but I decided to go by train. And I went across to New York, and one of the Trinidad organizations there, Professor and Dr. Gatti James, introduced me. And I stayed there. And they agreed to fund the shipping to Trinidad of those computers. Well, I want to tell you that's how I get to learn computer myself, because I thought typewriter was the best thing in the world up to that point in time. But the first ever community-based computer literacy program was established right here in Laventille, in fact in Mova, in Coconut Drive, with 30-something computers donated by the American University. That is the track record. That is what has happened. So don't tell me anything about equitable distribution of the youth resource or the resources of the country, where in Laventille and Port of Spain is a concrete jungle, but you still have, of course, places like Guayari and Meairo and so on, where you could still go and catch a fish, and you could, of course, go on a mango tree, and you could get a coconut water and so on. You don't even have to wear clothes that we must wear in Port of Spain out of decency and common, of course, etiquette. How the hell you could tell me that the same amount of money you're giving a youth in Guayari or give to one in East Port of Spain? No. The needs are much more, because you must have money to live. And I told a youth supervisor some time ago, when he was annoyed that I made that statement, because I made it very public. He says, Smith, you can make a statement like that. I say, well, let me tell you something. Why is a youth in those places in the countryside and so on could still get a pitch oil pan and put a tree stone and bubble up a pot and get something to eat? Well, if a fella in Port of Spain or in Laventil do that, put a 3 stone together, find wooden material and so on, and bubble up a pot fire, they burn down a whole block. Burn down a whole block. They cannot, you cannot be so naive to equate, of course, that situation with this situation. I am not, because I know Gypsy, when we had a particular retreat in Mayaro, he came and he said, Smith, how you could be talking about my people like that and saying that we don't deserve equal? I stood my ground. I said, no, your youths could still eat and so on, whether they like it or not, but what the youths in Laventil and East Port of Spain will eat what? Concrete? What? Dig up the ground and eat the asphalt? What? Go in the canal and get canal water? No, there's a big difference. I am saying this because I know that the authorities are listening and are looking. I want to tell you that experience is the best teacher. I want to tell you that being given an office doesn't make you bright. It's what you do with the office in respect of what is expected of the office. And if the office delivers, then of course your job would have been completed. But if that is not the case, then it means a revision must take place, revamping must ensue, and a philosophical as well as a methodology must now be adopted to respond appropriately and adequately to situations that merits, in terms of equity, equitable, or should I say parallel, logical, common sense, and practical, obviously. For what? For peace and security. We have to address the borderline issues. We have to address, of course, the crime issues. We have to address the 7s and the 6s, etc., the gang warfare. We have to do it. But it cannot be done when the authorities believe that it's police alone could do the work. It cannot be that programs like these will not be funded and left to its own whims and fancy. Whilst, of course, when the opportunity presents itself, those who can least inject the paradigm shift and the attitudinal change and the moral, and ethical, and spiritual values that are required in order to transform, to contribute to the society and the community and themselves. You waste it by giving it to elements that do not have that perspective. No. The time has come. The time has come that attention must be paid to those who know, and not those who speculate, and those who are engaged in what I consider to be conjecture. No, it must be those who know, who've been there, who have the experience, and who are prepared, of course, to continue to work. Failing that, well, the worst will have to continue. As I've said earlier, and there are examples, those persons who decide to risk life, limb, resources, stay poor, and decide to do something about it, whether they're in church, whether they are a sporting organization, whether they are a cultural organization, those who decide to remain. I want to tell you that there are circumstances where those very people became so frustrated, or there was orchestrated or manipulated the circumstance to get them frustrated that they abandoned the whole damn project. But I want to tell you this. And the most recent, of course, is Garth Christopher. The most recent victim of that is Garth Christopher. Most of you on these blogs will know. He set up on his own volition, out of his own pocket, and with some state assistance then, a homework center, essentially, out of the abandoned health center in Mova. Fix it up nice, put in computers, etc. Yeah. That is what we are talking about. And what? For the week, 30, 40, 50 young people will come there, do their home lesson, get access to computers, etc. And guess what? As soon as the PNM got into office in 2015, because the center that was prior, the center that he created, was on the premises of the state, because it was the abandoned health center that he renovated and upgraded. Hines and Leonce orchestrated for that facility to be taken away from him. What is the consequence? Because that is not the first one. I too, Archbishop Burke, Penny, Lister Penny, all people who would have had intrinsic knowledge, special knowledge of what is required in these communities to generate the transformation or the renaissance, I like to call it. All of them. They were frustrated by the state one way or another, under the PNM, of course. In my case, for example, after the NAR demitted office in 1991, Manning said, well, listen, Mr. Smith, you will not be targeted. That time we were getting what I think like a measly $14,000 a month. Well, in a short space of time, that was taken away. But I am the kind of person who will not give up, so I continued with my program even to today. You've seen that. So I've survived all of them. But there are those who can't take it. So Penny bided us. Archbishop Burke bided us. She had a children's home. She gave it up. Penny used to take up all of those young people who line in around Kentucky and in Port of Spain and in Laventille and so on, and put them in a home. Got people to sponsor and purchase building and so on, and they were living there. She ended up with a charge connected to these same young people. And essentially, what that was all about is that they decided to take away the little grant that they were giving through the Ministry of Social Development. And when I had chance to meet the minister on that specific matter, I said, Mr. Minister, I think he was formerly the chairman. I see they give him some accolades just the other day in the Sawan Laventille Regional Corporation. Robert, that was the fella. He was the minister. Eventually, of course, he became Minister of Housing as well. But he was the Minister of Social Development then. And I told him, I said, don't you know that it is the state that failed that particular program? When they were asking for their grant, the annual grant, somebody's out there is after 10. Sorry about that, people, but that's how I am when I'm on a roll. But I just want to conclude with this. I told him, and he agreed eventually. I told him, listen, or let's take away the grant that the people were getting. These are children. They had to eat. Let me just take this call. You know how to take the call. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Hello, good night.
Yes,
Lennox.
good night. Hey.
MCW.
Hey man, how you going?
The kind of work you put in, when MCW don't get them ball appointment and all that kind of thing before, I'm thinking it. I see this man as a chairman, this man as a CEO in MTS.
That's all right. What a meeting pass you, and we have a program specific for that.
You glad when you go there, boy? You can pull out the youth center from the police to square away property, boy.
Yeah. Don't frighten.
I go ring the bell. You tell me to ring the bell. I watching and seeing what's going on.
Yeah. But don't frighten. Things will eventually work out. You see, because tenacity, work. You see, time is critical in circumstances where people, for whatever better term, rush the brush, but can't deliver, but rush the brush, and in the process put aside those who have the capacity and the ability. What do you think will happen? Eventually they will fail. So I think a year and a half, I think a lot of reconsideration is taking place. I'm sure of that. And what they will see as well, they will observe the level of consistency as far as Lennox Smith and programs like these. And therefore, only day before, I met a specific minister who said two of his brothers went to MLIU. So I know that it's just a matter of time, because if you are not satisfied with how crime and the young people so engaged, the sevens and the sixers and so on, conflicting and of course killing themselves, as well as what they consider to be collateral damage and other people getting shot by the way, that cannot be sustained. It cannot be accepted and tolerable. And if there is an alternative right in your face on a nightly basis, as we are doing tonight, you telling me that eventually that individual, in this case, of course, this program, this individual will not be observed and noticed and be given an opportunity. Well, I want to tell you, just in case you don't understand that, a similar situation happened under Pandey. And eventually, I was made a senator. And when I got up to talk, everybody knew that was the man all the time. I'll leave it only with that one. I just want to say, however, that the minister then, Roberts, he agreed. That is nonsense the ministry did. Because I told him that children are not cars. You cannot pack it up because it has oil or water. Just pack it up and leave it there until you get oil and water. You have to feed those children. They must get meals. And then he understood. But by that time, of course, it was too late. The action that the cause to be engendered on that woman, she got so frustrated and so disappointed that she abandoned the whole damn project. In other words, I'm saying that when GATT's project is removed, when Archbishop Burke's project is removed, when the 300 students that I would have had is removed, you know what catastrophe you have engendered? By any stretch of the imagination, anybody with a modicum of common sense will know that what you have done is not just catapult, but you have exacerbated the problem. And thus, of course, what we are experiencing today. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And see you, of course, tomorrow morning on the Ground Report. Andy and I, of course, will deal with these and other subjects from 6 in the morning to 9 o'clock on 91.1 Talk City. I see you there. Have a wonderful one. Bye-bye.
choice, so I go pay the price. Yeah, live my life, just live my life. Yeah, done make my choice, so I go pay the price. Some of them don't